Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. It's your host, CL King, coming to you live from the High Definition Studios here in Impactville, USA. Yes, I am sitting high atop the Ruth E. Legacy Plowden chair. And I want to tell you that tonight is going to be a great night, as usual, of impact for you. You know, I was talking to my guest in the pre-show, and oftentimes it is a truism that sometimes people just put things together and, you know, they want people to participate with it, but they don't really have it all measured out or thought out about how it's definitely going to make a positive impact in someone's life. And my guest tonight has gone total opposite of that approach and has a phenomenal opportunity for every one of you. So I want you to listen closely because this is going to be a night that's going to really, I think, challenge you and inspire you to look at a couple areas, kind of like mind, body, and soul or spirit. And so, you know, we're approaching, ladies and gentlemen, our 300th episode, and I am delighted and tickled to death that we get to do this. But this show is going to be, I feel like, a transformational moment for someone. There's someone out there that will be listening to this show, wherever you are, from coast to coast, and amongst the 30 different countries that carry this show. There's going to be someone out there that listens tonight that says, you know what? That resonates with me. CL, that your guests, I got to connect with them. And that's the end result that we look for on this show. You guys know in our live show that we do, we tell you as soon as we bring our guests on, go connect with them, even while we're introducing them, because it really is about this whole collaboration and connection. And my guest tonight has a background in Wing Chun, and she's also an expert in martial arts and martial science. She helps people develop awareness, balance, practices, and focusing on the mind, body, and soul and spirit. And I have been inspired in the pre-show, so I know all of y'all are going to be inspired. Would you please put your hands together and help me welcome to our studios, Marcella Arieta. Welcome, Marcella.
Wow. Thank you. Thanks so much, CL. I am so glad to hear your voice and have this opportunity to share mine.
Yes. And, you know, if people don't understand sometimes the scales and mountains that we have to climb to actually make this happen. And so I'm so glad that we were able to get everything, all the bugs worked out, got you in the right place where you can get good service and connect. And that is the beautiful thing, Marcella, is that, you know, no matter where people are in the world, Impacting Life 24/7 brings them to their living room virtually, you know? So if you're listening to this show tonight, I want you to really tune in, strap in, because it's going to be a fast 30 minutes and I can't wait for you to hear. But Marcella, before we get started with all the stuff you and I just talked about, Marcella, why don't you tell people how they can contact you?
Of course, CL. So I love it when people reach out to me via text. You can text me at 520-443-1190. And also, there is a link to get on my calendar for an intro call for 15 minutes. And so CL is going to be providing that. And I look forward to hearing anyone's voice and having a discussion about their balance with mind, body, and spirit.
Absolutely. And so, again, if you'd like to contact my guest tonight, our guest, Marcella Arieta, I hope I did it right. Did I get it right, Marcella?
You did.
When you hear me take a deep breath, you know I'm struggling. 520-443-1190. And, of course, her contact information will be in the show notes, along with the Calendly link to get on her calendar for a free 15-minute consultation and session. And you're going to want to take advantage of that. And when you contact her, if you send her a text, tell her that you heard her amazing show and her interview on Impacting Life 24/7 with none other than CL King. And so, Marcella, I know you. Feels like, you know, you take that 30 minutes. You talked about it. Conversation and discussion is so powerful. I think some of it has been lost in our social media world where, all we're doing is giving thumbs up. And man, I tell people, don't give me a thumbs up. Tell me what you feel about what I said. Don't show me a thumbs up. But anyway, Marcella, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and history, because I know you, but I want to introduce you to our amazing audience. So, Marcella, tell us about yourself.
Hi. Well, I would say that my path really has always been about other people. Ever since I was born, my mother was like, Marcella, go get a cookie. I would get a cookie for myself and also another person. So I've always cared about other people, and I believe that this has been a gift that I was born with. Finding my path in life came to more fruition in 2000 when I started training martial arts and doing a lot of introspection with one of my first teachers in Manchester, New Hampshire, Mark Noel. And so that was the beginning of that path for 7 years. And then after that, I decided to move to Tucson, Arizona, and continue my study and practice with the Fong Ching Wing, who has been out there in Tucson, Arizona since the late 60s with Wing Chun. And I continued my study and practice. And I also began a path of teaching and learning about healing in the body. And here I am, 22 years in. It's a beautiful beginning into the next chapter, CL.
Well, that's powerful. And for those of you who are wondering what Wing Chun is, I'm sure I'm going to be able to. I can't say I was going to twist her arm. I won't do that because I will wind up on the floor. But I am going to, we're going to unpack what Wing Chun is. And, a lot of people have find different pathways for, unlocking their purpose in life. But this pathway is actually, was unlocked through a bit of adversity that we talked about. How you even got involved in getting active and being, training, etc. before Wing Chun. And so I can't wait for us to talk about that, because that was kind of a pivotal moment for you. But when we talk about the three elements, why do you feel like these elements are so important to hone in on, and how do you help people develop them?
And so how I help people develop them is actually always listening and getting into their personal story.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing when I say that, yes, I've been doing gung fu, but those words alone, gung fu, that means a discipline and practice. And there's a lot of gung fus out there. CL. Like, for instance, this radio show, that's gung fu, something I show up for every day and come full circle with. So I start with people and listen to them communicate, and then I start to get glimpses into their life about their practices. And then with the toolbox that I have, with the gifts that I have for helping people with pain or things that connect them to themselves and their story, I start with that first.
Yeah, that's very, very powerful. Again, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are tuning in or you put it on pause and you want to know how to connect with our guest, Marcella Arieta, you can find her, you can call her or send her a text message directly. I thought this was so cool that someone still actually communicates by phone, 520-443-1190. And then if you just scroll down on the link where you downloaded this show, there is a link for you to connect with her and do a consultation. Maybe this is something that would resonate with you, and just have a conversation. There's absolutely nothing to lose. And Marcella has been in this area of discipline for many, many years, over 2 decades. And so when we talk about the mind, I asked you about this earlier. I was wondering, mind, body, and spirit. I don't think that can these be handled independently, or is it important to bring these three elements together in a cooperation because they're so inextricably tethered together?
Yeah, that's a great question, CL. And so I would say a lot of times when we get into any practice, it always starts in the body. We get into that physical practice. Could be gung fu, could be playing the guitar, whatever it is. We're getting into some kind of a physical practice.
Right.
And then with that practice, the more we get into that, now we start getting into the individual aspects of a person's experience through their mind and their thoughts. And so they all interrelate. Most of the time, I believe we started with a physical practice first,
Okay.
and then where the mind is at there, they're all, the mind will start to interrelate in how that develops with the physical body. And so everybody's in a different place with it. That's what is the most beautiful experience with watching people. There isn't just a set way, like, I'm going to start here and, I'm just going to work on the physical practice and then I'm going to get into my thoughts. It's all interrelated,
Yeah.
and it's a matter of that person's like awareness of those aspects and how they interrelate.
Yeah, that's good. And again, I appreciate you, looking at each person as an individual. See, sometimes, like I said, some folks just come with their package and say, okay, for $450, you can get this package. And, I said this today. I made a post today. As you guys know, I make quite a few posts. But I said, not everyone can be a motivational speaker. And what I mean by that is you can't just buy this course for, $3.99 and read some articles and think that that's it. That there you go. Now go forth and prosper. It is a gift and an art that has to be refined. And similarly, I think about us working on ourselves, that it's not just a one-stop shop. I mean, Lord, Marcella, you've been in this for over 2 decades, and I would probably suppose you are constantly enhancing and refining yourself, huh?
Absolutely. The refinement of my own personal development is ongoing, and so that's why for myself at 22 years, it's another layer and it's a new beginning. And so I was taught, I've had great teachers that really emphasized the joy of having personal practice. And what that brings to a person's life. And so mine was gung fu and health and wellness and body work. And I love teaching people and families. It could be, CL, your voice. That's another gung fu,
right.
Helping other people find their voice.
So now let me ask you this, because we are and I should have asked you this in our pre-show, but it just came to my mind. And as you know, ladies and gentlemen, if I see a squirrel, I might just chase it. When we talk about bringing people together, and if someone wanted to connect with you, obviously they can do the get on your calendar. But let's say someone wanted to enter into a longer term connection with you. Are you doing this virtually to help people?
I do this virtually, and I also do this in person.
Okay.
And depending on the person that I'm working with, I also travel.
Okay, great, man. That's awesome. So there's no excuse, ladies and gentlemen, virtually, in person, or travel. We used to say this in the Marine Corps, have food, will travel. But and so Marcella Arieta, you can contact her today at 520-443-1190. And again, if you'd like to schedule a session with her, or kind of like a brainstorming session, see where you are, see if you guys connect, because that's important. There's a Calendly link in the show notes. And so, when we talk about Wing Chun, give us some insights into what that is, because you said you saw that and it really intrigued you. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So thanks for that, CL. When I first saw Wing Chun, without understanding of what I was seeing, it was just abstract. They were doing the Chi Sao, which is a sensitivity hand drill. It's very unique to Wing Chun Gung Fu. And that is what I looked at. And I was so curious about it. I had never seen anything like that at all. And so, with Wing Chun, it's an art that's about 400 years old, and it was created by a woman in Foshan, China. Mm-hmm. And it has a really beautiful theory of the triangle within the circle. And so with the hundreds of drills that it has, foundational drills, you recreate the structure of the triangle within the body, and then circular movements. And they're all the drills are based in principle with the yin yang theory and energy.
Oh wow! See, that was an awesome explanation because I'm sitting here thinking I need to picture this because I might call and get my free. I might look. For a trade off. I want one session so you can see if I can even make it past 5 minutes of doing it. Huh?
Absolutely.
And again, I've got
I would love that.
Our guest Marcella Arieta. She's hails from Tucson, Arizona. And you can contact her at 520-443-1190. Now, you notice how many times you've heard your number, right, Marcella?
Yes.
There's a reason for that because I value your time. I value our listeners' time. And I don't just bring people on here for something to do. My world occupies me constantly. So if I'm going to be blessed to get a few morsels of your time, I want to make sure that it adds value to you as well. So that's why we do that. And I put that little parenthetical statement for all of my other podcasters out there that sometimes they wait to the very end of the show and say, tell us how they can get up with you. No, as a speaker, I know that information is powerful. So I'm going to give you the information that's going to unlock your opportunity to connect with somebody great like Marcella. And so, Marcella, you were telling me what life looked like before these 22 years of Wing Chun and the practice of martial arts and martial science. Tell us kind of what life looked like before all of this and what was, you defined it when you were telling me, what sparked the transition for you.
Yeah. I was coming off being a DJ for years, and I've been a disc jockey in the underground music scene for about 15 years. And so, I thought that was going to be the only thing I ever did. I worked and I managed record stores and managed talent. I was a wild horse, definitely at that end. I was learning a lot of things with very little knowledge on structure. It was wild. And then, so at that point, I was taking a break from the nightlife, and I was doing some side work in waitressing, and I always talk to people. That's always been my direction. I've always enjoyed communicating with people. So yeah, I met this person there, and I was, it was a misunderstanding between me and this person at the Black Brimmer in New Hampshire, and she got really angry at me. I honestly thought I was going to get jumped by like 3 or 4 people from this person, and I was very uncomfortable with that. So my first introduction to martial arts was purely self-defense. I didn't want to have, get beat up by 4 people. I wished to be prepared for that, and that was my initial intent. And then it turned into so much more in regards to personal development. And even with that, like I said before, if it wasn't for that experience of that person being so angry at me and making me nervous and uncomfortable, I never would have went to this school, and this set me on my path in the beginning of it. And then 22 years later, here I am, and I thank this person.
Yeah, and we were talking about that. It's like, some things that are dressed in adversity are actually, they reveal opportunity. And, understanding and fulfilling your true purpose. Now, because of that bit of conflict, now you're helping, people, all around the country. And you tapped into that. I talk about that in my book, which, ladies and gentlemen, it's on its 3rd edit. I can't believe it. Halfway through that 3rd edit, Who Ate My Brownie? And the brownie is like that point where you recognize, hey, this was the moment in time in my life that really was pivotal. This is where things changed. And so now, if someone was to say, I deal with pain and people, can you and help me understand this? Because some people, I understand our Western medicine and all that, and I have doctors on this show and all that. I appreciate our medical professionals, but is there such thing that we don't have to live with pain? Like you can teach us some things that would help strengthen our bodies?
Yes, and so with the methodology that I've created over the last 22 years, the thing about it that I enjoy the most is creating simple, approachable practices to build foundation. And so seeing exactly where a person's at, there is a health intake if there's actual physical pain. There also is that assessment of whether or not it's best for them to see their doctor before working with me. So I get through all of that.
Right.
But I teach people observation in their own body and awareness. Simple things like how I sit in a chair. I can sit in a chair and get out of that chair with tons of vitality, or I can sit in a chair all day, and when I get out of there, I've lost a lot of energy and I am noticing pain. So I teach people a lot in regards to alignment with whatever it is that their practice is, or vocation, or whatever it is that they're doing. If they're noticing any pain, physical pain, that's one aspect.
Okay, and that's interesting you say that, because I didn't tell you this, but I suffered from 2 failed back surgeries back in 2016 and 2017. Cost me $500,000, and they still didn't do it right. And that's something, that was a lot of money for something that didn't work, And I was prescribed, all the typical pain medicine and pain management. And they said I was going to be on these pills for the rest of my life, right? Marcella, that was a tough diagnosis. And it wasn't until a guy who went to my church who said, I had the same back surgery, I had the same failed situation, and you're going to have to do something that's contrary to how you're feeling. I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, you're going to have to get up and exercise. I said, no way, I'm in too much pain. He said, yeah, that's right. And he said, and until you start moving, you're going to always be in pain. And you know what? It wasn't until I started moving, Marcella, that I got myself off of pain management. In fact, my pain management doctor said I was the first of her patients ever to come off of pain management because of the type of surgery and the damage that was done. So we, in other words, I tell you that because you can give people hope that they don't have to stay in their present state, right?
Right. And so, it's interesting you talking about surgeries, and, it's one of the most complicated surgeries that you can ever get, and it's back pain. And so this is how, the body usually responds. First, you have an injury, right?
Right.
Your mind talks to your body and you have an injury. You go to a doctor. CL chose to get surgery. That's another injury to the body. And so you have to now build a new relationship with your body from that. And so it's another trauma.
Yeah.
And so then we have to start getting into exactly that movement, approachable movement, and start building a foundation, and we can have a lot more success. Yeah. So I've definitely heard many people, get surgeries, and sometimes, I'm so happy to hear your success in getting over that pain management as far as medications.
Yeah.
And, and some people, sometimes they just struggle after that because they still need more time to connect with their body as to the reason why it happened in the first place.
Exactly. And, I found when I took the weight off and I got stronger, I strengthened my core, it was like I didn't even realize I had a back issue. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm glad that you help people get connected with their body. And then the spirit. So we're talking about the mind, the body, and the spirit. What aspects of that do you help illuminate to people?
Well, it's kind of this natural experience that happens. It's the more I spend time with myself and figuring out what's my gung fu, what's my practice to me, and then I'm balancing that out with my physical life, and it's all starting to look like things that bring a lot of joy into my heart. I'm speaking from the heart.
Right.
We get that sense of just being in the current, and then we walk through life with a lot of ease. With training with Wing Chun for a long time, the whole practice is about myself, seeing myself first before I can walk through the world and see everything. And so it's important to spend time with ourselves and really understand what that is first.
Yeah.
What's my practice? What gives me joy? I got pain. What's going on with that for myself? What am I willing to do?
Yeah.
When I put that relationship first, then I'm really able to walk out in the world and really see what's going on. And that's that idea of spirit. You're just in the current, and whatever comes forward, conflict, joy, everything, it becomes an opportunity.
Well, that is so powerful. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're sitting there thinking, man, this is something that I could benefit from, again, what Marcella does is in that 15 minutes that they're going to be with you, real quick, tell them what that looks like.
Oh, that's good. What it's gonna look like? There's gonna be talking. I'm gonna be, having that person communicate with me as much as possible, and to see whether or not they would like to schedule more time to communicate. And then, that 15-minute intro call will turn into 45-minute complimentary call, and we can go a little deeper.
Yeah.
And see whether or not it's a great fit. But there'll be a lot of communication in regards to that person, their life, their story. That will be the main subject.
Well, that's good, and that's a very, very powerful approach. And if you like to do that, ladies and gentlemen, here's what I want you to do. I want you to call or text our dear guest, Marcella Arieta, at 520-443-1190. And again, if you just like to get this thing on your calendar, there's a calendar link right in the show notes. Just scroll down. I see you on your computer right there. Just scroll down right now. Link there. And then would you do us a favor and let her know that you heard about her and her amazing ministry and gift on Impacting Life 24/7. Can you believe that how fast that time went by, Marcella?
Oh, so fast, Ellis. I'm getting warmed up.
I'm telling you, that's what I'm telling you is the amazing thing about this. When you're with somebody who's making an impact, then the time just truly flies. What I'm going to do is ask you to take the next 45 seconds or so and speak to our audience out there and give them a word of encouragement, whatever comes to your mind. But I always do this for every one of my guests. I give them the floor. You know how to do it because you're a DJ too. So I'm giving you the floor, and I'd love for you to give a word of encouragement to our Impacting Life audience. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I would like to say that we're all meant here to do something powerful and great, and taking time with yourself is the number one most important thing for all of us to get into, so that we can live a more fulfilled life and have more joy and connect with more people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I like that part that you just said there, connect with more people, because you know what? We have been isolated for, the last 24 months or longer, and it is really time. Human interaction and connection is essential. It's important. And so having someone like Marcella Arieta to help us to do that is going to be essential. So if you'd like to schedule a brainstorming session with her, just contact her directly, 520-443-1190. This has been so enlightening. It's very, very, you're a magnet of positivity, and we thank you so much for spending time with us here at Impact Life 24/7. Marcella, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, CL. It was just a wonderful speaking, and definitely you hit me up so I can give you that free session, okay? So we can see how you do.
Yeah, let's see if I'll be in pain afterwards. Again, ladies and gentlemen, our guest Marcella Arieta out there in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, and just connect with her. She's got an amazing practice, works in the discipline of Chun, and she helps us identify these 3 key areas of the mind, body, and soul, balance amongst them. Okay, we'll be in touch, okay? And we'll have you back on because we want to help promote this for you, okay?
All right, CL, thanks so much. Everybody out there, blessings. Take care.
Have a great night.